Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. Today we are working on block number 10. It is designed by Amy Smart and it's called Windblown, and it has this fun little pinwheel in the center. The first thing you need to do, like we've done before, is download the pattern from our Riley Blake Designs website. I previously cut out all my squares, everything that's needed to make this block. So now we're ready to get started. The first thing the pattern tells you to do is take your A block with your C. We're going to do this, and we're just going to mark corner to corner and then pair them up. This is going to be our guide, and we're going to make 2 half square triangles at once. Then we take our D block with our D square with our A square. Pair them up. We're going to sew those all at once, chain piecing. Then we're going to take our E block, our squares with our F squares. Okay, we'll pair those up, these 2 blues together. I'm going to give them a quick press and then chain piece them, sewing a 1/4 inch on each side of the line. All right, now let's clip in between our squares, and that marked line can now be our cut line. Okay, let's open them, press them to the dark side, and then we'll trim them up. Got our half square triangles all pressed. Now let's trim them up. Now they should measure 3-inch square. So this is a 3.5 inch square up ruler, so I just have to kind of line it up on that 3-inch mark. Okay, those are all finished. Just gonna kind of clean up this workspace a little bit. And the next thing we are going to do is make our pinwheels. So these are our corner units. Our pinwheels are made with these half square triangles. Now what you need to do is just follow the instructions on the second section. So you're going to take the one that has the medium blue, this is the bleached denim, and you just follow it, because sometimes they can get twisted around and then they're off. So you're going every other one, and again, you flip it the right way to make that sweet little pinwheel. So I just kind of flip them over like that. And then I lock them in place. They're going opposite directions, and I pin at the top. So then I know exactly where I'm starting my stitches. Again, just lock those two seams into place and take it to the machine. And so, again, super important to have your 1/4 inch seam allowance be completely accurate. Okay, so open it up like this. Looks good. Now, some people will open up their seams, and you certainly can. It is nice to have less bulk, but I'm going to nestle the seams right here and flip them opposite direction. Again, why you don't open up your seams is there's more strength in the fabric than in the thread. And when you open them up, it kind of puts more pressure on the threads. Okay, open it up. Here's our pinwheel. All our points meet in the middle. Now let's give it a good press. Now you can press the seam to one side, or again, there's a lot of bulk right there in the center. You could open it up, but again, I tend to never open up my seams. Okay, you need to square that up. Line your middle seams right in the middle. And it is just, see, one side I need to trim up. The rest I'm not taking any off. Okay, so our pinwheel is finished. The last thing we need to do is make our flying geese. What's interesting about this is the flying geese, the pattern within the pattern makes it look like a block. That kind of frames on point that pinwheel. So we are going to take our G with our B, previously cut squares, our B, G squares, and we are going to make our flying geese by marking corner to corner on this dark blue piece. Our flying geese are the white. I'm just gonna make one to save time, because I've got 3 other already prepped and ready to go, so we'll save a little time. Now this time when we're making flying geese, this is going to be our stitch line. It's not our guide, so we'll sew right on that line, corner to corner. Again, I would chain piece all of these flying geese, but we're just gonna make one at a time. Flip it over and check, looks good. We'll trim it up. Use this trim up ruler. It's already got that 1/4 inch guide right there. We flip it over. You can finger press it. I'll give it a press on my pressing station, and then we're going to put this next square on. Trim it. Give it a press. Flip it open, give it a press. Okay, this one's finished. We would have made all of ours at the same time, and it should just measure 3 inches by 5.5, and it's right on. So there's no trimming needed. And I've already made my other flying geese units. So I'm gonna put this over here, and it's time to assemble our block. Again, our white flying geese are facing out, just like that. These are in the corners, so it makes that interesting pattern. Okay, and then we've got this unit, pinwheel unit, in the center. So now we're ready to assemble our block. Again, I think I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to start with my center section. Now when you're lining this up, I always make sure the flying geese goes right to the center. And I do pin the 2 sides. So I pin it here and here. One side you can nestle your seams because they're going in the opposite direction. And this side, they're going the same direction. So it's going to be a little bit of a bolt, but just make sure they line up. And just ease your stitches over there. Again, that needs to face out. So I make sure that middle section lines up there. Again, one side you can nestle your seams. So let's take it to the machine and sew both sides. Okay, this center section is sewn just like that. Now these two outside sections, I'm going to line that up there. Well, kind of do it on that side. Just double checking. So that will be ready to go. We'll sew these together. Okay, they're both of our units are done. Okay, let's add these to our center section, making sure our flying geese are going the right direction. We want to make sure we have that square in the square of the pinwheel. And there's been a lot of comments that you've appreciated me showing you how I press my seams, so I'm going to talk about that right now. I'm going to flip these over. And I like to see how the fabric's naturally falling. So I've got a lot of bulk here. So I'm going to let that fall out. I'm going to press my flying geese towards the center and the center section falling out so I can nest my seams. Again, you can open up your seams. There's a little less bulk. It's easier to sew on. You're the boss of your quilt. You can do whatever you want. But I'm going to press my seams one direction on the outside, and then the middle I'm going to press them in. So I'm going to take this. You can even press on your design board. So I'm going to take this design board over. I'm going to press from the back side so that's nice and flat. And then I'm going to press my flying geese going towards the center. Now, I just give kind of a quick press because I'm going to press longer after I've sewn my two seams. Okay, so I'm going to flip this up like this. And now I'm ready to nest these seams. Putting a pin right at this intersection right here. And if they don't meet up perfectly, then when you're sewing, just kind of give a little tug like that. Okay. And take a look at that. All of our points line up. That's what we want to see. Now let's sew the final section on. Flip that over. Nesting our seams right there. Okay, let's take a machine and sew our final seam. Okay, let's open it up, take a look. And we want to see our points lining up just like that. All four. Let's press it and then we're going to square it up. Give it a little mist or a steam. We want to get our block nice and flat. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's take our large rotating mat. Square it up. You can line the center pinwheel there. And I'm seeing just a lot of threads. And it seems to be pulled just a little inside here. So I know when I take this to sew, I'm just gonna have to give it a little bit of a tug to make that 10.5 inch. But overall, it looks pretty good. Just be mindful of your 1/4 inch seam allowance because you don't want it any smaller than your 10.5 inches. And it's slightly inside. And the wind-blown quilt block is finished. We can't wait to see what Amy Smart of Diary of a Quilter does with her block with her own fabrics. Join us next time for block number 11.